Good morning out there, traders, and welcome to the Apteros Daily Market Insight for today, January 19th, 2024. As usual, we'll start with our recap, and then we will update our session plan and levels for today. So, taking a look at what was going on yesterday, we had a straightforward line in the sand, one type of situation here where we were looking at scenario 1 being bullish up above, scenario 2 being bearish down below this line in the sand. I was mentioning this line in the sand was a little large because of the time frames in which it was derived from. But the general bias was something that I was fairly confident in and strong with, and I was following scenario 1 as closely as I could from any real neutral inflections depending on the acceptance picture. So once we got into kind of the open area, we were here, and the acceptance picture at that time from neutral references standpoint, this reference was still underneath it, this reference was above it, so I was really watching this reference for any type of bullish opportunity or our line in the sand for bullish opportunity, right? So as we came down and up, we kind of hit up against our neutral reference again, pulled back, hit up against it again. Then we got our full pullback, and we got chances to start getting long in this section here. And it was from there, it was just, scenario 1 right up to the target area. No real pullbacks, just straight into that zone. And then we started to see that second leg, this leg here, beginning. I was mentioning that if we got up above this neutral zone, the next target area was definitely into here. And we started to see that acceptance picture shifting right here, and on the pullback it went right up into that target, kind of heading into the close of the day. So if you are a late trader or something like that, there was some opportunity to continue with our bias throughout the session, but for the most part, the early part of the session was spent trying to get up through these neutral references and not being able to do so, and then getting a really good pullback for better risk reward opportunity within the landscape of our plan and our prep. So really great session, nailed the bias all the way around, and just understanding the context here, and the ES was playing along with it. So taking a look at what's going on today out there, very similar situation to what we were kind of seeing yesterday. We have a lot more bullishness across the board, and right now this is our main line in the sand right here. So scenario 1 is going to be that we hold up above that and continue to the upside. This is my overall stretch target, depending on how the pullbacks kind of play out. Now looking at scenario 2, that would be a breakdown, and this would be my main target for that. And if we got any continuation down, there is a stretch target for that lower as well. So that's the general idea of what we're looking for out of today's session, mainly staying bullish up above this line in the sand. Now, this particular neutral reference, this is important because it's kind of the last semblance of value in the immediate picture that we have with the ES. So if we get up above this, it's kind of open space up into this neutral area here. And this neutral area isn't derived from a particular strong natural reference. It's more of a rhythm-based target for the intraday areas. So this is kind of just a benchmark for us to reach before any type of continuation that could be possible, or value gathering, I guess you could call it. So at this point, if we get up above this neutral reference here and we hold it, that would be kind of a good situation for a continuation out into this open space, and we'd be a lot more trend following in general. So it kind of would be like trading all-time highs, even though we're not technically at all-time highs with the back adjusted pricing and all that stuff, but still we're out in open space whenever it comes to the recency of the information that we have in the ES. So that's something you have to pay attention to with today's plan if we do get some bullish rallies up above this neutral area. If we don't, we start to pull back, well, then I'm watching this neutral reference for an inflection to the upside. If there's nothing there, it doesn't materialize, and we start failing back into this zone, obviously the line in the sand is where I'm paying attention to. But if we do get back inside this neutral reference and hold it, we're going to start seeing some dissonance on the lowest time frame. So this area here is kind of a spot that we're paying attention to. If we hold inside of it, we start really pushing through, it's possible we could end up down here and then see that inflection coming up. So a little bit of nuance with today's DMI is that if we do see strong bullish, movement down through here, this area down here is still pretty good for scenario 1, unless the acceptance picture obviously changes. So in other words, if we get a leg of rhythm that goes straight through and straight back up, and we just get a wick down here, scenario 1 is still going to be on the table. If we start holding underneath this reference for a little while, then it's going to be switching to scenario 2 and monitoring the downside here into continuations down into that 47.45 or 47.75, sorry, area. So that's the general game plan with a little bit of nuance around this particular zone here with scenario 1. But, overall, We're just watching this bullishness and monitoring this line in the sand for scenario 1 and watching these neutral inflections and looking for any type of continuation possible up into this area here. But like I said, if we hold up above this neutral zone, we're out kind of in open space, so we'll be paying attention to that as we continue to move with today's session. If the pullback holds, then we have to monitor these neutral areas in the line in the sand for inflections. All right, so that is our breakdown for today's DMI. Trade well out there. Make sure that you follow your process and control your risk. And let's have a great trading day.